Hi, I'm Bob Ryan, and today we're doing a video for homedefensegun.net on suppressors. The modern suppressor is something that's kind of just come back into the vogue of recent. They've always been legal, depending on whether or not you're willing to go through the rigmarole of getting a hold of one. All that's required to possess one of these is a federal tax stamp, and we'll cover how you get that later. Essentially, we've all seen this in the movies. A suppressor is a device that threads onto the end of a gun barrel. And these things have baffles built into them that basically lower the amount of sound, muzzle flash, that you experience when you fire these. It's probably not a common thing to consider, but a suppressor does have its place in home defense. If you've ever fired off a gun inside a building, inside a house, or worse yet, say a concrete stairwell, you know what I'm talking about. If you know anyone who's done that, you can speak up quite a bit and ask them. Firing off guns indoors is super bad for your ears. So what the suppressor allows you to do is to fire guns indoors without causing physical damage to your hearing. Obviously, they also knock down the muzzle blast a lot, so your night vision isn't as affected as much. They're interesting units, and we're going to head over to the range now and fire a couple of these off so you can see just how much they really do lower the level of noise you're dealing with when you fire off a handgun. Alright, now we're going to demonstrate just how well these suppressors work. We've got some 147 grain full metal jacket 9mm here, which is a little lower in velocity than some 9mm ammo, but it's a good example of what you'd probably be using for home defense, aside from the full metal jacket. We've got a AAC Evolution 9mm silencer here affixed to a Glock 19, and as you can see, I'm not wearing any hearing protection, because you just don't need it with these things. So we'll fire off a couple of rounds and see how quiet this thing is. Alright, our second suppressor here is a Silencer Co. Osprey 45, and we're going to demonstrate it with just some basic factory 230 grain full metal jacket 45 ammo. 45 ACP is a great cartridge for silencers, if for no other reason than most of the loads for it, at least in the 230 grain range, are subsonic to start with. Once again, you can see I'm not wearing any hearing protection because the Osprey takes all the big bang out of this. Alright, well, we've seen what a big difference a suppressor can make in the level of noise and muzzle blast you experience when you're firing a pistol. One of the things a lot of people wonder about is how you take a standard handgun and convert it over to accept a suppressor. It's really not that complicated, especially with a Glock like we've been using today. Basically, with the Glock, all you have to do is switch out the barrel. So you remove the standard factory barrel, which sits flush with the end of the slide there, and you replace it with an aftermarket barrel. This one, as you can see, is a little longer than the original because it has to stick out to accept the suppressor. This is a Lone Wolf barrel. Pretty good company. We've actually worked our way through quite a few of these barrels now, and they'll hold up pretty well. They're very accurate. They also have the added benefit of having just normal land and groove rifling in them, which means if you feel like it, you can start shooting lead cast hand loads, stuff like that out of your Glock pistol. Just install the aftermarket barrel, put the gun back together, and then of course you can affix your silencer. got your little James Bond gun put back together. These two silencers that we've been playing with today, this one here on the 9mm is a AAC Evolution silencer. So you can see it does an excellent job of knocking down the noise level that handgun produces. It also holds the muzzle down real nice because of the added weight and mass hanging out here on the end. It's a very useful item. The other silencer that we've been working with today is the Silencer Co. Osprey. It's a 45 caliber silencer, at least this one here is. And as you can see, it's a little different than the Evolution because unlike your average movie silencer, this thing is not round. It's oblong, and the reason for that is to allow for the use of factory sights with this silencer. Once it's attached to the gun, the vast majority of this sits below the muzzle line, which means you can use your shorter factory sights. To keep this in proper alignment, to actually make sure that the smaller portion of this oblong shape is sitting above the bore line, there's a little lever on the bottom so that you can unlatch it, move this whole unit around, and then latch it back up again so it doesn't move on you while you're shooting. All things considered, the Osprey here probably has a little more utility built into it. If for no other reason than it has a bigger hole. The Evolution here is a good unit, but it is just a 9mm silencer. If you want to fire rounds through it, they've got to be 35 caliber or smaller. This one, like I said, has a little more utility. You can attach this unit to a 9, a 40, 45, whatever will fit through that 45 caliber hole there. And it comes with a couple of different little gadgets here for switching out to other calibers. This one's a replacement piston for going down to a 9. This is a fixed barrel spacer, which basically replaces one of the springs inside this unit and allows you to screw this suppressor onto a fixed barrel firearm like a rifle or something. And we have tried that out in the past with pistol caliber carbines and stuff. It works really nice. Both of these suppressors cost about the same, so I guess, if I had to choose just one, I'd probably go with the Osprey, although we've never had any kind of problems with the AAC. A lot of you might be wondering, what you actually have to go through to obtain one of these. Well, it's a lot of paperwork, essentially. Here we have an example of what you have to fill out. There's a, to begin with, what you have to do is contact a Class 3 firearms dealer and pick out a silencer. They will order it in for you. These silencers have serial numbers, just like firearms. And when you have one, that serial number will be linked to you. So, the dealer orders you in a silencer, he gets it in, and then you start filling out paperwork. There's a fingerprint card here, an A4 form for the ATF. There's even a form in here that basically says you're an American citizen. And then you take this and get it signed by a member of local law enforcement. That's usually the sheriff. When that's done, you take $200 and all these forms, you give them to the ATF, and these days you'll be waiting about a year to hear back from them. But if you pass your background check and it turns out you haven't been to prison, about 12 months down the road, you will hear from them and you'll be able to go and pick up your silencer from your dealer. And then you'll have it. There's a few rules and regulations you'll have to observe while you have your silencer, but by and large, owning them is fairly carefree after you're done with all the paperwork and everything. They're definitely something to consider for home defense, or just allow for more practice time. There's a lot of places where you can't fire off unsuppressed firearms without people complaining. Obviously, you can't use these inside a municipality that has laws or regulations against discharging firearms, but there might be a lot of places on the edge of a municipality where you can go and shoot, and as long as it's not that loud, maybe nobody will give you any trouble about it. I hope this has been informative, and I hope you consider getting a suppressor.